right, well, I don't want to say I'm cranky. That's not fair, Razor. I'm grinding, just like you are. That's all good. It's part of the game, right?
Grinding.
Play through it. And the grind continues for the Boston Bruins as we welcome you into Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor, late night edition, as we sit down post Game 2, talk about the Boston Bruins losing in overtime 4-3 to the New York Islanders. And would you agree the entertainment value was very high? I think I think we could agree upon. I get that, Razor, if Bruins fans don't enjoy the outcome, but they had to have been entertained at the very least.
It was a good hockey game. It was well played on both sides. The playoffs are going to give us that, especially the rest of the way. And I'm sure the people who bought tickets weren't excited to see a loss, but they saw a pretty good hockey game.
Yeah, this Morning Brew brought to you by Fazenda and the coffee roasters there, and we'll talk about how you can get your Morning Brew mug through fazendacoffee.com/morningbrew. And also this episode brought to you by the people over at Wormtown and their Craft Hard Seltzers. We'll touch on those items a little bit later. Let's get right into it, as we like to do here, Razor, on Morning Brew. It was a game that got started out more or less very well for the Bruins, as Charlie Coyle got a power move and took advantage of going one-on-one with Nick Leddy, and power moved by him somewhat similar to what Taylor Hall did at the end of the regular season to win the game in overtime at TD Garden. This time it was Charlie Coyle playing with the new right wing in Carson Kuhlman and his regular left wing in Nick Creachy because of the injury to Smith, and that brings Kuhlman in. I love the goal. I love the way he dropped the right shoulder, went in through between the stick and the skates and drove the net. And Varlamov, right, he had to stay back there. He had to stay back in the crease because of the steam, the power, the engine drive of Charlie Coyle. And to me, that was a great sign early on for Coyle and for the Bruins.
Agreed. Great start. And that was as good as Charlie Coyle's played, certainly in the first 40 minutes. Mm-hmm. At least as I can remember. And that goal is what we expect out of him. Like you said, driving the shoulder, using his skill to pull it to Varlamov's left and just slide it in with speed and power and skill. And all of those things that Charlie Coyle brings to the table and the matchups that he gets, it's going to be even more important for that line come Thursday night in the Coliseum when they're not getting the exact matchup. So he's going to have to play big minutes again. And I liked his game all around tonight.
I did too. And by the way, I like Kuhlman's game. I liked it a lot. No issue with it. I thought he hustled. He does his job, right?
He does his thing, yeah.
We understand that offensively, not the most gifted. Had some chances still. Had a couple nice attempts in the game.
I wish he didn't miss the net. He had the one chance. He rips it over. Like, just hit the net. Like, you're not at the point where you're going bar and in. And he doesn't have to be. He does that. That's the one criticism I have, and it was noticeable again where he's got a hard shot. Get it on net. Maybe it goes through the guy. Like that's the but to
or get
point,
a rebound. Get a rebound.
Yeah, something. It'll keep the puck close to the net. But he did a good job. Kept his feet moving. Skated well. And listen, that third line played really well. It did.
Yeah. By the way, as a grind guy myself, when you get golden opportunities like that, the problem is you start thinking so much where you're going to try and go bar in or snipe it, and then you realize after you've missed it by 8 feet, you're like, oh, that's why I'm not one of those guys.
Yeah. Oh, I did that in practice 3 days ago, right? Oh, that shot worked great in the Black Aces 2 days ago.
Yeah. So 15-6 for the shots at the end of one. And, I'm not trying to scoot through the entire first period. I got a bunch of notes and everything, but it was physical. It wasn't like the Islanders didn't. But by the way, the Islanders had some chances in the first period. You could tell in the first that Matt Barzal, Eberle, and Komarov. And by the way, I was wrong. I thought Barry Trotz was going to put Kyle Palmieri up on that line, finally do it. I was wrong. And I'm sure Islander fans, if they're listening or they had the opportunity, they'd say, you don't know anything. Look at how well that line played. That line did play well, even in the first period. I know the team only had 6 shots, but that line had more possession. They got on the cycle more. But the Bruins, I thought, overall had a good first period, Razor. It was a little different vibe in the building. It was still exciting and energy and all, but it was a little different because it was the second time with fans there. But I thought the Bruins did a really nice job of saying, all right, we're taking these hits. We're going to make our plays and do what we can do best.
Yeah, agreed. Agreed. They came out and didn't let the Islanders get to their game. They didn't worry about a pushback from the Islanders. They just went out and played their game, and they got the first goal, which allowed them to settle into that period. And yeah, but no, it was a good period and a good job by the Bruins to play first 20 minutes.
All right, so what the hell happened in the second period?
I don't know. That was an issue. That's where it kind of got ugly for the Bruins. They got caught not getting the puck out of their zone.
Yeah.
And whether it was too long of shifts because they were stuck in their zone, or it was just not completely focused, or maybe a bit of the Islanders, but it didn't look like the Islanders did a whole lot different. It looked more like the Bruins just weren't able to get on the rush as well as they did in game one. In the second period, they were sitting back a lot.
The irony, you're right. The irony of that is the penalty that led to the first goal that was fluke's maybe not the right word, greasy, grimy, whatever hockey cliche we want to use, is that it was on the Pastrnak goalie interference play, right? And so the irony is you're saying they couldn't get the puck out of their own zone, but the penalty transpired off of the guys going to the net. And again, I mean, the Bergeron line I thought was great again. I thought they did their job.
That's where I was going to go. It was only one line in the second period. It wasn't even the Hall line, the Creachy line couldn't generate, couldn't come out clean in the second. So they basically had one line going, and if you're going to have one line going in any period, that's the worst one to do it in, is the second, because you get hemmed in. And I mean, Carlo had at least 2 shifts of 145, and you could see them gassed, and then they get it up to the red line. They just didn't get it in deep enough to be able to let the D change. A couple forwards were changed, and then they come back. So yes, definitely. And on top of all that, the reality is the Islanders scored 3 goals in that period. One was that greasy, ugly one you said. Palmieri's was just as greasy and ugly. And then the third one was on the bad penalty and another power play goal. So all of that being said, you can have causes for all 3 goals that don't necessarily translate into every game.
Right. So the first goal off of Lauzon, and then Bailey throws it from the side, and you're right, it knuckles around and it goes in. Nothing Tuukka could do there. My guess, there's not much Tuukka could do on the second goal because the puck caroms off the end wall, off the shot. Quickly, it was Leddy, I think, put the shot on net,
and it got blocked too. So that puts Tuukka that split second behind too. So he's scrambling back to his post rather than seeing that clearly and knowing the puck's going there.
Yeah, he didn't slide back or what's the term I'm looking for?
Float back. It wasn't floating because he actually stood on his feet for the shot. And it never got to the net. It was going to hit him in the blocker. It was going to hit him on the right side of the net. It went off the Bruin in front and just grazed off him. So it wasn't a direct block to the side of the net. It just grazed, and Palmieri was able to get to it first. And as a goalie, you're in that scramble mode. And again, it's literally a split second that if you get behind out there, that's how fast things are moving.
Yeah. And so he comes over, he tucks it in.
Finds a way to go in, yeah.
Exactly. Just found a way to go in. And then I'm sitting there saying, oh, crap. Like, again, I'm having that, this is Islander hockey right now. And they were finding their game, by the way. They were getting to the wall. Their wall play was much better in the second period. And the Bruins wasn't as good. And therefore, the Bruins, who I thought did a nice job again. I thought the first pass in the first period was really good at getting the puck out, exits, especially by forwards. Forwards were a little lower for that little outlet. Boom, they hit the guy coming out. Second period, not as much. I think there was a bit of an adjustment by the Islanders, by Barry and his staff, and they made sure to put pucks into areas that was a little harder for the Bruins to deal with and not be able to get out as clean. So now they're up 2-1 on the Palmieri goal, and then they do get that. It's not even a marginal call on Carlo. I mean, listen, I'm all for always being honest, as are you. If it's a good call, bad call, whether it's for the team, against the team, whatever. But so there's a back and forth going between Leo Komarov and Brandon Carlo, and the whistle's gone. And Carlo, there's no denying, jabs Komarov a couple of times. No question. Maybe even gets him a little up high. Was it a distinct cross-check? No. But did he give it to him? Absolutely. In the regular season, could I see that called? Maybe, especially by a younger official, Razor. These are not younger officials. And now, so after that, by the way, I never saw the official right away say, you got one, you're going. All I see him going back and forth, and he's yapping at him, and then the other guys get involved in a bit of a pile, not a pile on, but, a back and forth to the side. So I'm thinking there's nothing going on, or Komarov and Carlo will both go off for unsportsmanlike, roughing, whatever you want to call it. Holy smokes. And I'm not one to gripe about the officials often. Having been one for a couple of years at the NCAA level, it's hard. It's thankless. That doesn't mean you don't make mistakes. That one, I just thought that wasn't game management there, bud. I didn't get it.
It made no sense. No sense. And all of your points, like, if the Islanders had got called on that, we'd be sitting here laughing that was a brutal call. There's no getting around it. It was a bad call, and I would even go to regular season, that'd be a bad call. So playoffs, not even close. And it doesn't. This is the issue that they have, because someone's going to point that out, because there's going to be somebody that comes across the middle and gets a headshot, and there's going to be no penalty. And someone's going to go back and pull that Carlo penalty and say this was a penalty and this isn't. It doesn't make any sense. And that it was a bad call. A bad call, and it ended up in the Bruins net, of course, because typically that's what happens on bad calls. And you're down 3-1 on your home ice.
Nice pass, I will say. Beauvillier, as he gets the puck down low, turns, spins, gets it over to Pajot, who loves scoring against the Bruins. Pajot now has a 6-game point streak as well in the playoffs. And he's got like a 90-game streak against the Bruins, it feels like, every time these teams play. Pajot puts up some offense. So you're through two periods. The Islanders outshot the Bruins 11-10 in the second period. So 25-17 are the shots. And the only reason I'm saying, I guess the point I'm getting at is it doesn't matter what the shots are when you play the Islanders. It doesn't. It doesn't, because they're always in it. Game one, they were in it until midway through that third period when Charlie McAvoy scored, and they were getting crushed on the shot board. Now you get to the third period. And for a while, the energy was good in the building. But, it was that the pucks were just bouncing off the Bruins sticks. They were missing the pass I'm going the first 8 to 10 minutes or so. And you started to get that feeling of, in fact, I said to our producer, to Sean, I said, that, he said the same thing. I said, if they get one, it feels like they're going to be okay. But they're just off by a stride here right now. Lo and behold, they finally get one off of the stick of Patrice Bergeron. After, really great hustle by all the guys, but in particular Pastrnak and Marchand, getting the puck in the left wing corner, working it around. Marchand finds Bergeron, high slot area. There's that great shot of his, and he sniped it on the blocker side. Right there, I won't speak for you, but I felt like they got the tie coming now. It's in the books because of how too much time left, and the crowd was going nuts.
And we said the same thing in the studio. This is going to overtime now. There wasn't much doubt about that. Yeah, exactly. Again, top line, doing the top line things. Varlamov, a little screen by Dobson out in front on the shot from Patrice. And we're going to overtime now. You could chalk it up, and whether it's a power play, whether it's with a minute left and the goalie pulled, whether it's a random 2-on-1, the Bruins are going to find a way to tie this up and leave it to Brad Marchand, who else other than Patrice, on the power play. Another too many men on the ice call, and just a great job by them. The compete level those guys have. The never quit, all those random cliches, but they're not cliches with these guys. It's the real deal. They're never out of it.
Love the way that they get the puck out of their own zone quickly after the puck had gone down the end of the ice, and McAvoy gets it and is able to eventually, just get it to Marchand. But actually, Creachy touched it too down low in his own zone. Gets it up the ice. Marchand reloads on the strong side. From a goaltender's perspective, there, you're thinking he's going to have to beat me with a perfect shot on that far side, right? I mean, you're Varlamov is square. Meanwhile, he hardly moved. He hardly moved on that one. That one was just sizzled right by him.
Yeah, he's got to protect short side first on that play, and with his defender didn't do a good enough job closing and taking space. Too much room, able to go through the defender, and once it goes through that defender, it's hopefully it's going to hit me. Otherwise, it's going in the net because you can't react to it. You can't drive or shift into it as a goaltender, and a very smart shot by Brad. He recognized he had the opportunity, he had the hole there, and he had more than enough room far side if he could get it there.
And he thought shot first too. Didn't hesitate.
There was no doubt. There was no doubt he was shooting that in. And even though he knew there was no doubt, and even though watching the replay, even as a defender, you have to hold back because these guys make so many seam plays and they make so many quick plays down low from that spot that it's hard to really commit to that shot for Marchand, even though we all knew in replay and looking at it that he was completely committed.
Mm-hmm. So 40 seconds later, I think 44 to be exact, Mike Riley stick breaks after keeping the puck.
Yeah,
trying to get...
I thought this was a bad call too. I mean, that happens all the time, and I mean, to just kind of throw your stick, it didn't make a difference. I would understand it if the stick broke and he goes and gets it and pokes away on a breakaway or something, but it ended up being a one-on-one. Usually the refs will not call that, especially in a tie game at the end of a playoff game. They could have kept the whistle. No one would have noticed that play. No one would have noticed.
It didn't bother me as much. I'm wondering only because did the ref feel that he projected the stick towards the player, meaning instead of dropping, it literally drop. So the problem is if you do a forward motion and throw it towards the play, it's supposed to be an automatic penalty. And maybe that's what the ref thought. I didn't really think much about it. Maybe you looked at it more than I did because I only thought I saw the stick break and I'm thinking at first, quite honestly, now where our studio is. We're at the other end. So I'm thinking he held him. That's what that's what I'm saying. Yeah. It wasn't. That's what I thought the penalty was behind the play. I actually thought the Bruins were going to get a power play because I thought something had gone on behind the play that we couldn't see on TV because again, it's just not a play. I can't remember the last time that was called, ever, let alone in a play like in that situation. I think it's called playing within a legal stick. The broken part of it has you. I think any hockey fan out there knows this. You can't play with any of it. The goalie's the only one that can play with a broken stick. But I'm guessing that Riley, what he felt, projected it towards the player to try and throw him off, a little bit right there. That was Zajac, I believe, that was there. So anyway, so the Bruins go shorthanded, kill off the penalty, and they do that, and I'm thinking, okay, great third period. They're gonna be okay because not only do they have a great third period comeback, they're doing what they want to do again. They're playing their game. They killed the penalty too, and the Islanders may be thinking, oh, shoot, that was our chance. Well, the Islanders don't think that way. They don't. They've got the ultimate short-term memory loss in a good way for a team. They're like, okay. So they come out in overtime, and overtime was exciting as heck. It was just up and down and everything. The Bruins never really found their game. They had some chances in OT, but, they never really got their legs going. Regularly. Again, top line did. I'm looking at my notes, pulling up here from overtime. Pasta had a one-timer. What was it? Hall that had that one little nub on the backhand driving to the net, I believe, as well. But on the other hand, it was Bruins were hemmed in their own zone. And by the way, from the time the Bruins tied it up, Razor, to the end of the game, it was 16-3 shots for the Isles. So I think that does tell the story right there. So anyways, let's just go to the winning goal. Lauzon, who had a tough night, bad luck night, tough night too. gets the puck at that left point, and I don't think look, I've looked at it a few times. Bruce talked about it in postgame. It's easy to sit there saying from afar, like we have, Bud, but I mean, that's the play. If you're making a cross pass, D to D, that was his intent. It wasn't to go to Charlie Coyle, who was the release valve up top. It was D to D. You've got to be 110%, not just 100%, but 110% if that's possible.
Yeah, it didn't make any sense. The Bruins don't make that play. We don't see even Charlie McAvoy or Matt Grzelcyk. We very rarely see them make that play, and again, you feel bad for Lauzon but you'd like to also know what he was thinking, what he was doing, because of all the guys to try and make that play, that he's the last one, but we don't even see anyone do that. That's an Erik Karlsson type play. There's no one else that does that, and especially in overtime, especially when the Bruins finally got it down at the other end, they had a pretty decent chance. And I was just saying while watching the game that they haven't sustained anything. They've been one in, one out, and that was an opportunity where they had Hall made a nice play going to the net, little tip. Varlamov made a right pad save. They got the rim around. They could have went right back down. Maybe they start creating something and get something, and to go D to D. It shouldn't have turned into a breakaway from Lauzon's point of view. That's bad luck, but it wasn't the right play at the end of the day.
Right. Even if you put the puck back down the left wing wall, and I'll say give it back to the Islanders, because the Islanders did have numbers back. It's a 3-on-3, and they dump it in at the red line because they want to get a change. Exactly. Even if you end up giving it back there.
Yep.
It's called the safe outlet right there. Yep. Keep it wide, keep it high. See it, and by the way, you can even rim it hard and hopefully to change the point of attack from left to right if you can get a guy going down the right side. You don't try and pump it through because you'll hit shin pads towards the net.
Yeah.
And I couldn't agree with you more. It is a bad luck play for Lauzon going cross ice to hit Coyle's skate and then perfectly caroms to Casey Cizikas, who I've known since he's been a rookie in the NHL. Here's a kid, a lot of confidence in his game. A lot of, he was pegged as a regular. He was going to be that kind of fourth line anchor for them. I remember when they drafted him, they talked about it. Like, here's a guy that will be a PK shutdown type defender. And you know what, Razor, he has. And that was a snipe. That was a quick snipe. You had the pressure coming back of Lauzon. We all know how different a breakaway and shootout is versus an in-game breakaway like that. Different mindset for the forward in particular. Their skater that's taking that, less time to think. And to me, I don't know if Casey Cizikas makes that same shot. Let's say if he's doing it as a penalty shot or as a shootout, at the end, because of the time to think. He just had to giddy and go because he had Lauzon chasing him, and he got rid of it real quick. I mean, the release was beautiful, and he sniped it blocker side.
Yeah, and it went in, and I don't even know if he did that 9 times out of 10, it wouldn't miss the net or hit Tuukka. The reality, he's a fourth line guy, but he made a great shot, and when those breaks, it's just like playoffs. You look through it all the time. When it goes that way, it ends up in your net. Just like when you get a bad penalty called against you, too many men on the ice, those go in the net, and that's playoff hockey. And you hope Lauzon's going to learn from it, and the Bruins are more than big enough boys to recover from it.
Yeah, I want to ask you something about Lauzon in a moment here, but let's quickly talk about Fazenda and give a fresh cup out. What do you think about giving it to Charlie Coyle for that play?
Yeah, for sure.
He made her in the game. You're good with that?
No, I thought it was his best game he's played in a long time. Noticeably, the great penalty kill, great job taking the puck, holding onto it, great job forechecking. He gets the fresh cup, no question.
All right, he had a goal in the game. He had 4 shots. Surprisingly, Razor, Bruins weren't great in the faceoff circle in this game. And let's give the Islanders credit. They got a lot better at it, and Cizikas took a lot of those. But we'll give Charlie Coyle the fresh cup, brought to you by Fazenda Coffee Roasters. Fazenda and our friends over there buying more mugs, getting more mugs in stock, and they will be there. The plan is they will be in the next couple of days, so plan on them shipping them on June 8th. This is what you have to do to get it. FazendaCoffee.com/morningbrew. Use that URL, FazendaCoffee.com/morningbrew. $35 or more. You're going to get fast free shipping, but also you're going to get a free mug. You're going to get the gorgeous Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor mug. And that's how you get it. These people are dedicated to roasting the perfect cup of coffee. You can find them at Davio's and other fine restaurants around the city of Boston and at your local Whole Foods market. They're all over there. I just finished a couple of mine, and I'm about to open up the Fazenda blend, so I'm looking forward to that. We've got some more Snap Chilled coming. So FazendaCoffee.com/morning brew. You can get your mugs. And by the way, they've already sold a ton of mugs. Pete, our buddy over there, Razor, already told me that a bunch of them already went out, and they ordered a lot. And I guarantee you they're going to go out by June 8th, meaning the day they start shipping. They're all going to be out. The other people we want to quickly talk about is our friends over at Wormtown, where they've got their new craft hard seltzers in Wormtown Brewery. I love these. They're light, they're easy to drink, great for summer. Thank God we got rid of the rain here in the Boston area, and it's going to be summertime coming up soon. These are gluten-free, 100 calories, 2 grams of carbs, 5% alcohol, perfect for all outdoor activities. Go to wormtownbrewery.com/our seltzers. 4 different flavors. Here you go on the YouTube channel. The orange zest, lemon lime, cran apple, awesome stuff. wormtownbrewery.com/our seltzers. So we thank both Fazenda and Wormtown. Let's tell me what you Lauzon, did he have a tough enough game, bad luck game, whatever you want to call it, to warrant considering not dressing, you think, next game, Razor? What do you think?
Not unless Miller's 100%. No, I think he's still at a place. Tenorti played good against Washington now, but yeah, it's close.
Does that hurt his confidence? Is that something that you have to be cognizant of a young kid? I watched Grizzly go up to him right away, and other guys went up to him right away.
That's the difference.
Like, Don't worry.
Yeah, I think that play as it wasn't the absolute worst decision. He was still unlucky. I think Patrice, I think Brad, I think Grizz, McAvoy, Tuca, everybody's they're not gonna allow him to fall too far. And I think it's a reality. Listen, we need you. We still need you. You this happens. We all make mistakes. Listen, we've seen everybody. They're all making mistakes. It's a game of mistakes. So I'm not ready to pull the plug on it yet. I think at the same time, if Miller's available, I think Lauzon's the one coming out now, not Clifton. Clifton's done enough. That's so you look at it from that perspective. But I think you're not taking him out for Tenorti at this point. He's still got a little bit more leash, a little bit more rope. And listen, that's a very easy mistake to correct. He won't do that again. I promise you. You might not ever see him make that play ever in his career again. Yeah. It's going down the wall. Keep it simple, kid. It's easy to correct.
Yeah. We saw a very similar play in the Toronto-Montreal series in Game 5 when Galchenyuk in overtime threw a pizza across. And by the way, Lauzon's wasn't a pizza. Galchenyuk's was a pizza. Mm-hmm. Lauzon's was more like kind of a flatbread, gone bad type of thing. I'm trying, something.
Yeah.
But and by the way, just remember one thing, folks. Yes, the Bruins lost Game 2 of the second round, but it could be a lot worse. They could be the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Could be Leaf fan.
Oh, my God. We don't even have enough time to go into that fiasco. David Creachy, 7 shots on goal in the game. He was 9 of 10 in the face-off circle. I'd love to see him. I know he had a couple assists the other night there. I'd love to see him get a goal. I'd love to see that. Him and Hall, DeBrusk. What did we think about DeBrusk? Up there on that side, I thought he was more involved. Brick and I talked about in our post game, portion of the post game. I didn't mind his effort level. He had 7 attempts to DeBrusk in the game. I feel like I'd love that line. Individually, they were okay in Game 2. Individually, they were pretty good in Game 1. Actually, I'd love to see him awesome. I know Jake wasn't with him in game one. But you know what I mean. I'd love to see that Creachy line become that
yeah, even
vicious
like
line.
The play Creachy got sent cross ice, him hold it and pull it to the middle maybe and go far. You know, like just something that Creachy would do.
Yeah.
Just instead of trying to just bang it in and having it go off the post and then Varlamov's arm or miss the net on the other one, hold it, pull it to the middle, make one more move, one more pass, something. It's easy to say, and it's easy for us to want that. But yes, they're at the point where you would like them to find a way in a special way.
As a line.
As a line. Like, a tic-tac-toe. And it's also been hard, too, because they haven't been able to get going on the power play. At least Taylor Hall, and that's another thing. But, just find a way to get out on a 2-on-1 and make a special play, whatever that looks like. So, 7 shots is great from Creachy again. DeBrusk was good, like you guys talked about. He competed. Right. You just kind of look at it. Koolman dropped in, and then Coyle scores. And like wherever he goes, it goes the other way. But I think that's just the way his season's been.
Well, he played 1932 to Jake. 3 shots, total of 7 attempts. He had 3 hits, 2 giveaways. That offside can be tough for him at times too, and playing the off wing. But I don't see them changing anything. We have no update on Craig Smith. I don't know. I'm not saying they're not telling the truth. I'm not saying nobody's not telling the truth. Nobody's telling you anything. It's called the playoffs. They're not telling you anything.
Right. It's called day to day.
He's going to be day to day. It could be 2 days. It could be 2 weeks for all we know. All right, let's talk about this. Let's talk about heading into Long Island now. So you got a full day off on Tuesday. No practice for the Bruins. Razor. Good day off. They'll practice on Wednesday. Do the video, etc. Head to Long Island. A very short flight. You fly into Farmingdale Airport, and it's just like one of those cross little things there. It's like you're up, you're down, and put the brakes on quickly, striker. Pull the parachutes out on the landing. And then you go play at the Coliseum. The Coliseum seats about, I think it's like 14,000 now. They brought it down. It used to be 16,200. It's now down to 14,000. They're allowing 12,000, so it's going to feel sold out, and it probably will be. I think they'll fib on the numbers here or there and everything. It's a tough place to play because of the size. I mean, the size, the sound reverberates, the ceiling's lower, and even though the ice surface is the same, Bud, you can speak to this, it feels like things are on top of you that much more there. So I fully expect this to be as physically intense, if not more so, in Game 3, given the fact that you're in the Coliseum, and it's a tough, raucous place.
It is, yeah, and it will be loud, and the Bruins are going to have to weather storms at certain points. They're battle tested. They're not. It's not going to affect them one way or the other. They understand that the Islanders are going to gain more energy from that than what they did in the Garden. There's no question about that. And they have to just play their game better. I think they're going to look at this game, too, and say, listen, we got a couple goals scored on us that usually are fluky, random goals. We played a pretty good job, and we lost in overtime on a random play. And they got to feel good about their game still. They love responding. They love pushing back. And I think of all the buildings, they'd rather do that in a Coliseum than anywhere else. They're going to relish playing in there and having it to have some pushback against an Islanders team that will, no question, gain momentum from their home ice.
And if memory serves correct, Bud, right? Bruins lost all 4 games this year in the Coliseum. Is that correct? Didn't they play the first 4 there? And they lost actually the first 5 games of the season against the Islanders before winning the last 3. So, that will be a challenge. I don't think it's going to be a mental block or anything. This Bruins team is significantly different than the one that lost the first 4 games on the island. And again, it's on Long Island, not in Long Island. Matchups, I guess, will be something that we look for. What will Barry Trotz do? He will absolutely try and get Barzal, even though Barzal's line, again, was very good in Game 2. Try and keep him away as much as possible from Bergeron's line. And
it didn't seem like either team was worried about the matchups in Games 1 and 2. Yeah, there wasn't a lot of consistency one way or the other. So, and that's the other thing where it goes to, all right, we're playing on the road. We don't have to worry about staying away from somebody or vice versa.
Yeah, one of the only matchups really that was, I'll call it hard, and I'm using that not facetiously, but loosely. For fourth line opening against fourth line, right? First two periods, that seemed to be about it. Just to give you a little analytics, the Eberle Komarov Barzal line, 10 minutes of even strength time, 18-4, only 8 against. So they're pretty good. I got to give them credit, man. They were pretty good. They need Matt Barzal to be impactful, and Eberle as well, that line, even if they're playing with Uncle Leo. And they were, so they were better. We'll look to see if they get him away more. I haven't really noticed the Killer B line that much, Brock Nelson, so they'll probably look to get those guys juiced up. It should be fun. Varlamov will start again for the Bruins. I would expect Tuukka Rask to start again. I'm sorry, Varlamov's not with the Bruins. He's with the Islanders. Tuukka Rask for the Bruins. In the meantime, Razor, we're going to, when I say enjoy a day off, it's not like you're not going to do your goalie stuff, and I'm heading down to the NHL Network for a couple of days as well. But we will come back and be with everybody after Thursday's game with another Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor. We got anything else we want to touch on quickly here before we say goodbye?
Not a bit. Game 3. Here we go.
All right. Hey, listen, it's been a good one so far. Bruins with a great game 1. Not so as great game 2, but yet an electrifying comeback only to see them fall short in overtime as they lose 4-3 to the New York Islanders. So we head to the Coliseum. Again, we'll talk to you after Thursday's game. In the meantime, try and enjoy your day. Remember, it could be worse. You could be living in Toronto, or at least a Leaf fan, wherever you are. And hey, everybody. Yeah, anywhere in Ontario. That's absolutely right. You know what, everybody? Again, smile. It's 1-1. It's the playoffs. We're talking hockey. Go have an extra cup of coffee, and please enjoy it.